Hi guys, it's Tired Andy here on your screen again. And this video is going to talk about how to write characters because that's my writing is the only thing that I'm actually confident in, and writing characters is something that I adore doing. So yeah, we'll get right into that. So think about yourself or other people that you know well, and put pieces of those people and yourself into your characters. Make them feel real by taking from real life. Think about your interests and those people's interests and your reactions and motives and your tics and your quirks and all that stuff, and you don't need to push everything about yourself into one character, or everything about one person that you pick from the people you love into one character, but you can pick apart things from you and things from your mother and things from your friend and put them together in a character to make someone completely different. That's something that works. I think that it's important to give your characters two things. Motivations, which I think everyone can agree on that, because if your character if your character doesn't have motivations, you can make the story about them finding those motivations. But a character with motivations and a reason to do things is a lot more compelling than a character that's just doing things because they have to, in my opinion. And the second thing is a sense of humor. I cannot stress enough, but literally everyone on the planet has a sense of humor, even if it's stupid things or silly things or things that nobody else finds funny. An example that I can give right now, because I'm actually rewatching it right now, it's Captain Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He has a weird different sense of humor, but it's a sense of humor nonetheless. Nobody else finds funny the things that he does, but it's a sense of humor. He has one, even he's the most stoic and level-headed character in the series, and serious, but he has a sense of humor. So give your character one of those. You can make it as different and as wild and as confusing as you want. Just give your character one, and the motivations. Create your characters with the relationships that they have in mind, how they act around their families, how they act around their friends, and even how they act around strangers. And even that, how they act around strangers can change in different situations. How they act around strangers at a party, or how they act around strangers in school, or how they act around strangers in work. All of those, they can be different, but they can have the same level of enthusiasm or something like that. Just they have, some people have different ways of reacting to different people, and different ways of reacting to different people in different situations. Backstory. Yes, your character needs one. You need to figure out at what point of their life your character is in. And once you do that, you need to figure out what happened before that made them be the way that they are when the story starts. And if you make a series or something, you need to keep in mind on what happened on the previous things that you wrote to write your characters later on. So things are consistent, obviously, but also because even if we don't make note of things, if we don't keep them in our heads, we usually change when something important in our lives happened, or something that impacts you happens. Maybe you're not constantly thinking about it, but certain things that happen to you in your life, certain things that happen to people in their lives, change their behaviors to even from the smallest thing to the biggest things, you know, it's there. You don't need to explain like every little action that your character makes, but sometimes it's nice to know why they do certain things or why they react in a certain way. It's because something happened to them that made them do this. This one is a little bit creepy, but authors are a little bit creepy in general. We are. Go watch people. And I don't mean stalk people, but like when you're in a crowded place and you don't have much to do, you can watch people, just like what they do, how they act, and little tics that they have, like the little quirks that they have. And you can make notes, and then later on you add that to your characters. Maybe this one is also obvious, but your characters don't have to speak the same. They won't always speak the same way. People are raised differently. They're born differently. They are raised in a different environment. So of course they'll have attachments to certain words or phrases, or they will speak things in a slightly different accent, and yeah, just make sure that the way that your characters talk is diversified and not everyone sounds the same. Give your characters struggles, internal struggles. Literally no one is happy all the time, and we all have worries about stuff. We all have things that make us struggle. Maybe they are normal things that everyone goes through every day, like work stress, school stress, things like that. Or maybe they are real serious issues and mental health issues like anxiety, depression, bipolarity, and schizophrenia. Anyhow, you need to give your character things that they can't control or that they need to be better at, emotionally speaking, so that they aren't just happy all the time, because that would be a very boring thing to read. Please, for the love of God, I urge you to give your characters more than like 3 or 2 character traits. A while ago I was reading this book that I did mention in my July Reads. It was the first book that I mentioned in the July Reads, which is Dueled by L.C. Chapman, and the main character is just, wow, she doesn't have a personality. She's just serious and stubborn. That's all that I can tell you about the character. And she also doesn't have a sense of humor. She laughs at nothing, and it made me reading the book feel so boring and so like dragged out. I literally skimmed through the rest of the book because I didn't care about anything that happened to that character. And I think one great sign as to that, I think that a great sign to knowing that you made good characters is that your readers care about what happens to them, is that your readers will be affected with the things that happen to your characters. So that's one good sign. But yeah, I'm done with my tips to making characters, and I hope they were helpful somehow, maybe, hopefully. I know that I'm confident about my writing, but I'm not comfortable about my explaining things. We'll see how that works. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to spread love. I'll see you in the next video.